And okay, we're live on YouTube. Hey, good afternoon. Bill Gross here, the LA, oops, let's stop 1 second there. The LAProbate expert.com. Welcome to our Tuesday call, which we call real estate investing zoom.com. We do this every week, Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's more relevant next week. Because while I'm here today in Los Angeles, California, in sunny Los Angeles, California, next week I will be in New York City, in New York, New York. I'm taking my probate business there next week. I'm taking my real estate investing business there next week. Turns out I have 2 weddings, one on Sunday and one the following Sunday. And while my wife needs to come back for the week because she's a teacher and it's finals week, I don't have to. I said to her, rather than fly back and forth, let's save 2 flights. I'm going to stay in New York, do some business, have some fun. So we'll do this call next week from New York. I think from Times Square is what we have set up. And we're excited to share that next week. So we want to start every week with a little bit of content and a little bit of sales content. And my premise here is that if you're going to make a profession of selling real estate from the beginning, you're going to have to sell. Now, if you're either at the end of your career or you're exiting a regular job and retiring and going to do some real estate on the side, this might not be for you because you probably aren't going to sell. You're really looking to put money into a deal and get a return for it. But if you are starting a career as a real estate investor or a real estate agent, or you're in the middle of it, you're trying to increase and make more money, you are a salesperson, correct? Yeah. So if you are a salesperson, either say or put in the chat box, I'm a salesperson.
I'm a great salesperson.
Ooh, that's even better. Who said that?
It's Ray.
Ray. Ray, there you are. Sugar Ray Fernandez, how are you?
I'm doing well. Bill.
Mr. 88, you're also with EXP now, aren't you?
I am with EXP. That is correct.
Welcome. So he said, I am a great salesperson. Now that's an affirmation that we both learned years ago originally in the Mike Ferry training system. And I think maybe one of his sons, Tom or Matt, maybe were using it as part of the program. But the idea was you got to tell yourself you're in sales. And that's the first step. So I want to talk to you a little bit about prospecting and hit a few basic fundamental points. Number one is you want to think every day that you're efficient, you're effective, you're productive, and you're profitable. If you're going to start your day looking for business, you've got to start, I'm a saleswoman. Okay, salesperson, saleswoman, sells whatever, sells it, sells them, sells they. Melissa, I don't mean to get into any kind of discussion on sexuality, but I get the point. Thank you. But you want to start the day with an affirmation or with some positive thoughts about what you're about to do. And I think that when we start the day in the right manner, it makes it easier to get up to a good start, makes the rest of the day easier, right? So you want to start off with some affirmations and think of yourself. You don't want to say, like, I hear people say things that they make affirmations like, I'm not good with numbers. Why would you ever say that? You are where you are. You want to get better, right? You don't want to get worse. So repeating I'm not good with something isn't going to help you. But again, if you're in the beginning or middle of your career, you better be efficient, productive, effective, and profitable. If you're not, life can be pretty difficult. Number 2, what I would say is that most of us do our business development first thing in the business, first thing in the morning. You really don't want to start the day answering emails, phone calls, paperwork. You really want to block everything out the night before so you can start the day kind of on the hunt. You have your most energy. I find more people answer the phone before noon than afternoon. So I generally make my business development calls when I can in the morning. And you want to make your mornings media free, with an exception. You want to only be listening to what I call game time music, game time videos. What do I mean by that? Who has been to like a professional sporting event, Dodgers game, football game, Rams, SC, right? Do they play CNN news while the team's warming up? Anybody? Do they play CNN news?
No, they don't.
They play Fox News. You go there, you see the Rams against the Dallas Cowboys in a $1 billion football stadium. The players got their beautiful jerseys on, the grass. Do they put up in a big screen, Channel 11 local news?
Nope.
Never, ever in the history of sports have I ever seen that. Is that just me? What do they have playing in almost every spring event pregame?
Hype music.
Very pump, yeah, very high vibe, high pump music. That's right.
So there's two reasons they do that. One is for the audience, right? They're trying to make an exciting experience for the audience. And the other is for the team to get ready. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I'm a USC alum, and I've been to many practices. I also swim at the swim stadium, which is right next to the practice stadium. And when they practice, do you think the USC football coach puts on CNN News or Channel 11 News or Fox News? What do you think they put on while the players are warming up pre-structured practice when they're running their drills or they're doing? What do you think they play in the loudspeakers? Anybody want to guess?
Rock that's going to pump your blood.
I'm sorry?
Rock that's probably going to pump your blood and get you going.
Okay. These days, hip hop music, but whatever it is, there's a couple things. It's loud, it's upbeat, they're moving, right? Especially in the mornings. So what I want to say to you is when you prospect and do business development, or when you start the day, I create a playlist. I call it, I new to my morning playlist, and I accumulate a bunch of songs. Now, my neighbors must think I'm Latin because all I listen to is Enrique Iglesias. I listen to Luis Fonsi. I listen to Gypsy Kings. I listen to all in Spanish. Why? I don't know. Those songs just move a little faster. Give me the faster version of Hotel California with the guitar. That gets me going in the morning. Give me some music that's upbeat. So when I get up in the morning, that's what I'm listening to until the time I hit my desk and start my business development. Nothing else. Like, I don't care. Unless the FBI is at my front door, there is nothing I need to know about. And my phone, all the notifications are off, all the buzzers are off, my phone's off. So in the morning, you got to make your morning time, your morning business development time, what I would say to be media free and really game time music only. So number 3, you want to have a morning routine that gets you ready for the heart of your day. Because in real estate, the heart of the day is finding the deal. True or false, everybody on the call, if I gave you a good deal right now, if I found you a deal that you could buy at 400 and would sell for 500, is the rest of your day a lot easier?
Oh, yes,
The
definitely.
rest is all overhead. That's the job. So you want to have activities so that when you start your day, you're ready to go. Do you stretch? Do you meditate? Deep breathing, exercise, what you drink, whatever it is you do, you got to make that time of your day special. That's game time for most of us. And the last point I want to make is you got to strengthen the connection between that business development work and your goals. Why are you doing this work? Some people put pictures in front of them. On my setup, I have 3 monitors, and one has pictures of different things of my goal setting, my family that rotates through. I may have told you guys for years, my goal, there was a time I lost everything in 2008, 2009. I had a goal to put, we only have one child. My goal is to put her through private college, private university. She went a gap year in Israel, and we knew she was going to get married pretty soon. And we would have a really nice wedding. And you had all it together, and it was like $250,000 after taxes. My goal every day was, I imagined being at the wedding, giving her away to her husband, paying for all that with no debt, and putting money away towards my retirement. That was my vision, my goal. Every day when I prospected, I imagined me in that position. I have a picture of me in that position. I achieved that goal because I thought about it every single day and connected that to the prospecting. So when we look for business, the people who say they want to make money, right? When you want to make money as bad as you want to breathe, you'll make a lot of money. It isn't easy. It shouldn't be easy. If it was easy, it would be degrading to those of us who work hard and make a lot of money. So I want to challenge all of you. There's nobody here in this call who can't do it. But you got to plan ahead and prepare yourself and make that morning time in your calendar special. Put it in your calendar every day, in your business development. My time is until noon. I do business development. I'm looking for referrals. I'm looking for team members. I'm looking for deals. That's it. This call is technically, to some regards, for me, lead generation. It's after the hours. It's like extra. It's like bonus time. Nothing wrong with bonus lead generation. So those are my thoughts on prospecting. Any questions on that? The play We Will Rock You by Queen. Yes, Melissa, they do play We Will Rock You by Queen. That's one of the classics. Very nice, a little hard rock. Any questions on prospecting, business development, or generating business? Am I just out to lunch on this, or is it this resonating?
No, that was great, Bill. I think all of us in here should recite those 4 affirmations. I'm efficient, I'm productive, I'm profitable, I'm effective. I mean, putting that kind of stuff in our minds, it's definitely is the right mindset to have when you're about to engage a business opportunity, no matter how you do it, whether it be online, whether it be on the streets, whether it be on the phone, whether it be texting. I mean, it doesn't matter how you generate the business, but when you're about to engage that business opportunity, it's always to have that right mindset of that type of affirmation in your mind. I'm efficient,
Definitely.
effective, I'm profitable, I'm effective.
Especially in real estate. I think that a lot of us are initially interested because it has unlimited possibilities, or we envision some great achievement by virtue of the work. Isn't that great achievement worthy of the effort on a daily basis? Doesn't making an effort honor the value of that goal? Right? So for all of us, think about, you want to achieve some big stuff. Hey, I'm here to help you 100%. I just can't tell you, one of the features we have in our company is a mentor program. We help new people get started in the business. It's just surprising the gap between people day 1 and day 30. They lose that energy along the way. And people sometimes say to me, well, can I motivate them? No, I really can't motivate you. You got to be motivated. Motivate, the word motive, the Latin root is to draw from within. But we all have it. We just forgot to use it. We all have that energy. We all have that drive. We forgot that's inside of us. Okay? So look, I got to tell you, I don't like the fact that I have to exercise every day. I don't like the fact I have to wear a monitor now for my heart and for my this. And, it's just a lot of things in my life I don't like to do. I like the results I'm getting. I love the results I'm getting. I'm going to New York, and I'm going to do business there for a week. Now, for some of you guys, New York's not a big thing. Some places I love to go, Florida, Hawaii. I'm not big on Mexico. Love Mexican culture, love Mexican food, love Latinos, Latinas. I don't like foreign countries. Love visiting New York. And I told myself I had a certain goal at this stage of the year. I could spend this week in New York by myself. So I'm looking forward to it. That's the rewards of working hard, paying the price when other people aren't working hard to earn. That's what's possible.
I also wanted to chime in on that too, because it's also your short-term and your long-term goal that you need to keep, and remembering that you're putting yourself in your shoes and visualizing that you're there. I'm already there. I'm doing it today, basically. And, you can have the big dream, and you can have the dream that is, very obtainable. That's, the next month, next week. So there's always a way that you visualize that you get something out of it, and you want to shoot for the stars, and you're always going to end up somewhere near the ceiling, which is, I think that's a big part of affirmation too, and not feeling bad about it after that. You did it.
Well, you definitely, having a big dream is important. And you have to break it down to what I need to do today and what I need to do the next. I like to not go out more than 13 weeks. Like my production goal for the next 13 weeks is clear to me. Now I will say I have a big annual goal. It was minimum 31 transactions. To achieve a big goal in my company, I get basically a $16,000 bonus, right? Well, along the way, I would close 31 deals. My average commission is probably $10,000, $15,000. So I already earned the bonus by chasing the bonus. Like you really think about it, it's kind of stupid to chase the bonus when the commissions are worth more than the bonuses. But the point is, it's forced me to work hard. It's forced me to think about it on a daily basis. I have a chart right here with my current pendings, closed, and my listings. I look at it every single day, right in front of me. Right. So some of you work in offices with these big whiteboards with all the listings and go, well, why do that for my own business? Because this is my business. And by the way, I got a board I thought was big enough. It's not big enough. So I had to buy two. Okay, good. The boards are cheap. Okay, so who here has found writing offers on properties gotten way more competitive in the last few weeks? Like it's insane. Like everybody tells you how hard it is. Like people are calling you, complaining that they've written other offers and they're coming back to you. Maybe you can help them get the. Who's had that happen? Anybody else besides me? Who here has noticed insane competition on listings now compared to just 3-6 months ago? Insane competition. So here's what I want to say to you. It's not there's a lack of inventory. Don't fall into the negative mindset. That's a win-lose mindset. That's a small game mindset. There is the inventory that there is. You get a good deal, it gets an escrow, you get paid. So there's no more or less than one at a time. But here's what I would say to you. I think right now it's about, doesn't matter the math, twice as hard to get a good deal as it was 6 months ago, or twice as hard to get a listing that's priced right and ready to sell. But it's twice as easy to get them sold. It's twice as hard to get, twice as easy to sell. So it really doesn't make a big difference if I if I do what? If I transfer all my energy from getting it sold to where? Using that math, what do I have to focus on?
You get the listings.
Get the listing, getting a deal in a contract. And I see so many agents spending so much time still on documents and forms and processes, and you don't have the time for that right now. Now, we all have compliance obligations, but the goal is to do that as efficiently as you can to get on to your real job, which is finding deals, getting listings, getting properties in a contract. That's your job. The rest is the paperwork behind it that has to be done properly, and you can delegate a lot of it to other people. Now, agents, go ahead.
Hey, Bill, it's William. I had to switch up. I'm at my parents' house posing as Pam.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to attest to that. I used to be the guy that wouldn't hire a TC, wanted to do it all. You know, I didn't want to pay the $350 or the $5, you know. And even when I had about 4 or 5 deals, escrows, I still was chasing pennies. And you lose so much more time doing paperwork, and it really gets very frustrating and confusing because you're dealing with so much paperwork. It doesn't, you're losing money. It makes sense to hire a TC.
Well, it feels like you're working, right? But you're really not working.
No, you're not. You're so counterproductive. It's ridiculous.
You're not doing your job. You're doing somebody else's job. I had an agent today, a good friend of mine, kind of complaining that there was an issue where he couldn't balance the way he wanted the commission check within like $5 one way or the other. And I said to him, dude, just pay the extra. His client was upset that he couldn't get the commission breakdown to 3 decimal points, only 2. I said, dude, just round it forward, pay the difference to the customer. You're talking about $5.
Oh, come on.
It's not worth the time texting me for $10, for $100. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but my point is, I'm hunting big game. I'm not hunting pennies, right? And I just recently changed the way I do my taxes with CPA and a number of different aspects to that. And I was talking to the company, and this is a company that I've marketed with. It does business, and they're telling me their fees on some things I'm doing. And I said, to be honest, if I got one deal from you this year, like I did last year, that pays for your fees 3 or 4 times over. I'm not really worried about it, right? I'm not going to nickel dime you on some filing fees and corporate fees and report fees for a couple $100 one with the other, when you're referring me a real estate deal that's worth $15,000, right? So
Hey,
we got
Bill.
to make sure we know what our job is. Yes.
So this is Jack. So it's funny. One of the things that I saw in representing real estate agents and real estate brokers and real estate brokerages was penny wise, pound foolish scales, in the sense that, you were talking about $5, you can add zeros and it's like, yeah, we're talking about $50,000, but it's holding up a $5 million deal. Right. Or, you're talking about whether you're going to give your assistant an extra $250 and it's holding up $1 million deal or something. And so it's not just the pennies, it's the decimal places and the relative size of what you're worrying about versus what is holding up.
Yep. You got to focus on what, make sure the big thing is the big thing. Focus on that. And definitely not doing the work. You can spend all day talking about, I have an agent I was co-listing a property on, and I felt like she was like the second TC, and she kept bugging me for a piece of paper. And I said to her, look, my TC will get to it. Like, it'd be nice to have today, but we're not closing to the 15th. We don't need it. It'd be nice to have today. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about doing things properly, but my TC was on vacation one day, and she had meetings for half a day one day. And I said to her, I've closed 70, 80 deals with her. I never had one audited and come back. So I trust her. I follow up on her, but I trust she'll get to it. Let's not spend our time, business time, expediting the TC. Let's expedite our customers, or let's go find some new customers. I had a heart-wrenching experience. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Was it yesterday or last week? I'm trying to catch up on all my past client calls. I have a process where I try to call everybody every 90 days. And I'm behind. I have 294 people that are more than 90 days old now. So I'm racing, or I'm down to 270 now. That's a 294. So I'm calling clients who I should have called, maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And I'm finding out one guy sold a house for $2.5 million. Another one sold 4 properties as an attorney through a deal that I had been working on. I'm not sure if I got either one of those, but I hadn't called them in the way I'm supposed to. Right? I was so busy that I fell behind on my marketing activities, which means any minute I spent on the wrong stuff in the last month or two, I should have spent on that and probably would have got a deal. Right? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of talking to people to get a deal. It's maybe 10 hours, 20 hours of phone calls. It's not a lot. So what I want to say about that is, let's make sure we're focused on generating business. Everybody on the call here is focused, at least in your capacity on this call, on finding somebody who wants to sell a property, or getting somebody who wants to sell property under contract to list the property. That's our jobs. Unless you're a professional investor where you basically have money that you're working on, or maybe you're a mid-career change investor or have money from another job where you're just looking for deals. If you're one of those guys, you're probably pissed that none of you have deals to show today to offer on this call as possible investments. I offer anybody who has a deal that they want to present. You have it under contracts. I don't want to really show an MLS deal unless you can make a case why it's good. What the income is on it, what the expenses to get it, what the profit is on it. If you want to walk through those numbers and present it, I'm up for that here on this call. But we're supposed to be out looking for new deals. Angie asked, what's a TC? Yeah, transaction coordinator. So kind of a standard industry vendor, third party, or some companies hire them in-house and charge per transaction, is a transaction coordinator. Typically, they do things that don't require a license, but are more of a compliance paperwork nature. And those are things that typically would be the agent's responsibility, but the agent's delegating the administrative work to somebody else to do. So for me to make this year $400 an hour or $300 an hour gross, I can't do work when I could pay somebody else $25 an hour or $20 an hour. I need to delegate to them the $20 an hour work and then do $800 an hour work to make the money that I want to make in my goals. So transaction coordinator is a commonly used position in real estate to do the administrative and compliance work that real estate companies require to keep their license. Wholesalers, investors typically don't have the same requirements, so they're not as concerned about it. I think it's one of the reasons why maybe realtors are a little more precise on their contracts, because we have these compliance requirements from our companies. Okay, while I have you guys on the phone, who here has noticed that mortgage rates dipped back down again last week or so? Yeah, Ivan, of course you would, Ivan. Ivan, what's the 30-year fixed rate go for today? Fannie Mae 30-year fixed rate.
Well, it's interesting. It's not only did they kind of tip back down, but they're a little neurotic because generally on a conforming, depending on qualifications, is going to be 3%. High balance is 2.875, and even jumbo ranges are 2.875 to 3.25. Of course, VA and FHA are 2.625 and 2.725. So everything's still pretty much sub 3% for the majority of cases out there. It's pretty wild.
So we had been below 3, we went above 3, and now we're below 3 again. So if you see the market in any way slowing down in any pockets, with rates having gone down again, that should be a red light, right? Because with rates dropping down, normally we have even further activity. And I would say that, I don't know if that's quite the case. I would say we have continued activity, just overall, Southern California, continued demand. I wrote an email this week, I sent to my past client list, and I would say that I feel like driving on the freeway as somebody who was driving 100 miles an hour, maybe on the I-15, past Barstow, and then slowing down to 80 miles an hour. You're still driving 80 miles an hour, you're just not at 100. I think that's where the market is overall in Southern California right now. In some pockets, there's some bumps. Downtown LA condos, there's some bumps in the road. Venice, some bumps in the road. Other markets as red hot as ever or more so. So it varies by locality, but overall, this is with rates at the or near the historic low. They bumped up above 3, but came back down again. So just something to pay attention to. If in fact interest rates were to go up, if in fact inflation was returned, it would cause mortgage rates to go up. I think you'd see the real estate market come to a screeching halt. It's very sensitive to the rates. So we shall be paying attention to that. Good. Who else has a challenge or problem we can help with today? Anybody?
Can I ask a question?
How about it? Pamela?
Ivan's the lender, right?
Yep.
I am.
So with a duplex purchase, and the property is occupied by the tenants, the goal is to get one of the tenants out, but it's not for certain. The buyer is submitting an offer under owner occupied. They're saying that they're not going to occupy the unit, and the reserves are only for owner occupied. My concern is, won't the lender question that? The units are occupied. We're gonna put, sold as is. But one of the lenders is saying, just don't put sold with the tenants on the purchase agreement, put it on the addendum, and you don't have to, necessarily send that to the lender. I'm like,
right. So are they purchasing it as an investment, or are they purchasing it as a primary residence?
Ultimately, she wants to move in, but she can for a month or a couple months or a year, she doesn't have to move in. But ultimately,
She has to move in within 60 days. So if she's trying to go with a conforming loan of some kind, a Freddie Fannie, high balance conforming or conforming, or even jumbo, I'm not sure what the price is or the county, but they got to move in within 60 days if it's going to be owner occupied. So they can give the current, like for an example, if there weren't tenants in there, you were buying it from a seller. One of the strategies being used a lot more nowadays than it was in the past, because now sellers have to find a place to live too, right? And inventory is light. So we've been doing and seeing a lot of 30-day rent backs, 60-day rent backs, that sort of thing. But it just cannot say anything on the documentation that they're going to stay any longer than 60 days. Now, are people staying longer than 60 days? In some cases, but it wasn't in the escrow documents.
Do you think the underwriter will allow her to just put owner the 3.5 down instead of the 20% if it was an investment purchase? Under those, that's what I'm concerned with, because she doesn't have the 20% down. She only has, and I'm afraid the lender will counter like, no, the underwriter like, well, no, we see this as an investment because it's occupied by tenants. You may do a 60-day lease back, but we want you to put the 20% down. That's my concern. Do you think?
Let me clarify your
How does
question if I can, Ivan, and for everybody. It's quite what William was saying is you can buy a property where the seller says to you, I live in there now, and when we close escrow, I'm going to stay in here and pay you rent for 30 or 60 days. However, if the property is tenant occupied, Wim's question is, can you do the same thing? Because the obvious question is, well, you can say you move the tenant out in 60 days and can move in. How do we know that's really going to happen? So I think that's the question, I think.
Yeah, that again, of course you can't control that, but you can't control when the seller moves out either. So the intent from the buyer's side and everything on the contract, right? On the real estate purchase contract. Are you in California, William?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So the car contract, there's typically line 9, there's a little box, buyer intends or does not intend to occupy his primary residence. So that has to be left blank for does intend to be used as primary residence. And then they have the burden of getting that tenant out of there. But that's the intention, and they can keep one unit occupied, and that's very common. I mean, I'd be surprised if not every single lender out there isn't seeing that, because house hacking has also become very popular, where, hey, now we're also going to use a portion of the income of the second unit towards qualifying DTI. So we can do that. So the fact that there's a existing lease in place for the unit that's going to remain occupied, that could actually work in the buyer's favor. So could a lender say, hey, I don't know about this? I suppose they could, but
if they check on, to your point, if they check on the purchase agreement that they do not plan on occupying the property, the underwriter is going to require an investment down payment.
That's absolutely
right.
Yeah, you can't. Okay, that because he's trying to say we can get around that. Just put it on the addendum. The underwriter won't see the addendum, and you don't have to necessarily.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Okay, that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
Every addendum, every amendment, the underwriter is going to review one last time prior to, they might have final approval, but they're going to review all that stuff one last time prior to approving the wire. So don't get bit in the butt by trying to do that.
I know.
Here's the alternative, William, and this is another thing I can help you with, is just do it as an investment loan and then refinance out. And don't worry about it. And then we don't have to worry about occupancy. We don't have to worry about DTI even. We can just do a straight DSCR loan, close it.
She doesn't, I love the girl, but she doesn't have the 20% down. And that's what I understand what she's trying to, you guys answered it. And that's the thing, you gotta, and this is a takeaway, because the seller likes her. We saw her at the open house. Like, I wanted to go to her. And I'm like, they came in over asking price. You got to analyze the offer. You got to look at those proof of funds, look at the credit report, look at the date of the bank statements. Because I had to call no, you know what? Hold on. I need to analyze this more. My conclusion now is we need to still market this property because I'm not confident in the approval of these offers. Yeah. So thank you for that, because the lender's pushing hard. And I said, let me see if that'll work. I don't know, and you guys answered my question. So thank you.
You bet, guys. You bet. And just one last thing before I turn it back over to Bill, since I'm on here. We have seen crazy things and offers being made without contingencies and all these different things. One of the things that is unique to us, well, two things. One is we have our Buyer Advantage program where we can use, especially if you guys work with any self-employed people, they can be a challenge, right? So with our Buyer Advantage program, we can actually get them fully approved. So you're not just walking around with, some lenders are doing pre-quals. Of course, we do pre-approvals, but we have an ability to do a full loan commitment with a TBD property before we have a property contract. So essentially you have loan commitment, and now it's just contingent on the value coming in. And to that point, the other aspect is the appraisal process, where most lenders out there are using a nationwide third-party AMC. We have our own in-house appraisal management company. We only use local expert appraisals in those markets. And if you're familiar with what AMCs do to appraisers, they cut their appraisal fee, right?
Sucks.
But they're giving them $150, $180. And they're overloading them with work, right? That's how they make up for it. So that's why sometimes you don't hit timelines and you don't have the loyalty. With us, we give 100% of the appraisal fee to the appraiser. We just have our own in-house AMC for QC of that appraisal. And then we have good loyalty, and our average turn time is 6.5 to 7 days on appraisals. And, crazy market, crazy values, but most of them are surprisingly coming in on value.
Now, you covered a lot. There's a lot to unpack. So I can go back a little bit. What Ivan said is so true. As a listing agent, I get offers with a pre-qual letter from Wells Fargo or Bank of America or some mortgage company or some company I've never heard of saying, well, if Joe buys a house, we promise to, process an application and let you know within, basically, if you read between the lines, within 30 days whether or not he qualifies. Because the letter they sent is worthless. It says subject to review of income documentation and credit. But what I've been saying is that there is another level up, which is more than just eyeballing the package, which they actually do the pre-underwriting of the customer, his income or her credit, assets. And so when they make the commitment, they're saying, we've already done all that. We've reviewed all that. Usually has an expiration date and a dollar amount. But basically, it's almost like a credit card. If your property fits.
Full commitment, Bill. So typically what everybody's used to is, what's the first thing that happens after underwriting is the initial conditional approval, right? It's not fully approved to go to docs. So right. The conditional approval, you review that and say, okay, I think we can meet these conditions. So if it's close to removing the contingency, well, you go ahead and you make that decision if you're going to release the contingency. What the commitment does is it takes it that step further. So you get the pre-approval, or I'm sorry, the conditional approval. You review those items. The borrower actually provides those items. And now you get to a point where you have full loan commitment because you've provided all those the conditional approval items even up front with a TBD property. So it's not just hey, yeah, we've reviewed and this is what we think. No, we've reviewed it. Here's the conditional approval. Get me these conditions. Right. And now it's essentially the same as having a full loan commitment ready for docs. We just don't have a property yet.
If you're going to buy property, you have to get pre-approved today. It's just way too competitive. You can't get thrown aside because now sometimes, unfortunately, listing agents make you use their lender. And that's a whole topic we could talk about. But absent that, as a listing agent, I don't really care who the lender is, as long as they know what they're doing and it's done. What I don't want is somebody who's not pre-approved, who doesn't understand. They have to start the process. I've had buyers, oh my gosh, my dad, who's going to co-sign for me, he has to provide his tax returns too? Really? Yeah, he does. Welcome to the party. This is real estate. This isn't some game you make up the rules. This is a big business and how things are run. So definitely get if you're gonna buy property, get pre-approved ahead of time. Don't think that through at the end. But yes, Roy, my son did say that. Put your big boy pants on. You're buying a house.
Oh, man, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, most big girl pants. Sorry about that. Big woman pants. How many big size-wise? I mean, grown up, mature, responsible person.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Ivan.
I love it.
And then the appraisal, that's a whole nother level of nightmare with some of these deals. And I had a deal, it was amazing. I had a listing where we had 3 or 4 offers at $1.1 million or higher. We went to escrow, and the appraisal came back at $920. And the buyer came back, and they had large down payment, plenty of cash. Well, we want to lower the price to $920. Why? The appraisal says $920. Yeah, but your appraisal are 3 sales from 3 to 6 months ago. Oh, and by the way, those buyers aren't selling you the house at that price. Go knock on their door and see if you can buy it. You'll have to pay more by $200,000 or $300,000. An appraisal is really a snapshot of the past of what sold that's similar. And it doesn't mean it's the market value of what should be paid today. We try to confuse the two. We're on the buyer side, and the seller side, we want to divorce those two. But who does the appraisal is a critical question if you're trying to sell property and get it closed and execute. And let me just say one last thing. I'm not predicting anytime soon rates are going to jump up, but at some point rates are going to jump up. And having been through this a few times in my career, it feels like musical chairs. And I don't know if you guys play it anymore, because I think nowadays we're all so soft and such pansies. But when I played musical chairs when I was a kid, like in kindergarten, the music stopped, you dove for a chair. And if you didn't have one, you fell on the floor hard. That's what real estate's like when rates jump up. One day up 0.5%, one day up 1%. It happened when we went to a war in Iraq. It happened with a couple of financial things in the past, where rates are going down, down. Everybody's calm and acts like it's going to continue forever. And nobody worries about locking in loans. And buyers don't worry whether the loan is locked or not, what the expiration date is. And the loan officers don't look at their pipelines and when the expiration. And then one day, boom, rates up by 1%. And that deal either closes or not based on it being locked or not locked. And I don't know if that day is today or tomorrow or a week from now or a month or a year. I don't know. But I am telling you, that's what happens. That's the cycle of real estate. And you better be ready for that. If you're a buyer, get your rate locked in as quick as you can. If you're a seller, make sure your buyers are locked in with the pre-approval, with the appraisal, but also their interest rate when they can. Watch those expiration dates. Good question there, William. Who else has an issue, problem, challenge? You got some real estate experts on the call today. We got Ivan, we got Joe Assad on the call. Not just a pretty face, Joe Assad. Guy did some real business. Any questions, challenges, problems? How can we help you guys today? Got a few more minutes. No?
Nobody will jump in, Bill. I want to touch on something you said a little bit earlier about you don't care who the lender is, and all I want to say is that
I do, but I don't.
Reasons. So I got two things. Wells Fargo right now, which we're delegated with a lot of the big banks. We're a direct lender ourselves, but we're delegated for jumbo with a lot of the big banks. Wells Fargo being one of them. And a lot of people try to go through Wells Fargo to get relationship pricing, and they right now they are offering the best jumbo rates that I've seen for a long time. The question you got to ask yourself is, are you stuck on the rate, or do you want your loan to close? Because if you're not a straight vanilla W-2 borrower with at least 12 months of reserves, and those reserves not being held in an actual retirement account, but liquid for the most part, you're going to have a hard time closing that loan with Wells Fargo. So you got to dig a little bit deeper into that. The other thing is, to your point, I have one of my agents who had a listing, accepted an offer, that did an old switcheroo and changed the lender to B of A. Well, again, not to throw any shade on any lenders out there, but B of A has a reputation for not closing things quickly. So my agent said, look, if you guys want to keep this offer, you guys got to pre-qualify with my lender, Ivan, and he's got to tell us what he thinks his timelines are going to be, and you got to go with him regardless. And they had a relationship pricing with B of A where they had a 2.75 rate. The best I could do is 2.875. But I got their loan I got their conditional approval in less than a week, and we got the appraisal in 6 days. And because of my relationship with the agent, he gave us a little bit of extra time to close, because we were already almost 10 days into the process, and B of A hadn't even scheduled the appraisal yet, right? So sometimes you do have to look a little bit at what the overall lending and mortgage loan closing experience is going to be, versus am I just going to get that eighth of a point less, but have a really, really tough time and stressful transaction and potentially not close my loan.
Yeah, look, there are a few really good loan officers at B of A and Wells Fargo, but the vast majority of the loans done by them are freaking nightmares. But there's some who are the best in the business and do a ton of deals. So the key word I haven't said is relationship. This is a relationship business. This is all about who you know and how you work with them and having equity that people want to respect with you, right? If I haven't called, I have a lender I work with. I've talked to Ivan in the past. I've referred some business to him. But if out of the blue, Ivan called me with a buyer and said, "Hey, Bill, this guy's good. That guy's good. I don't need to go any deeper than that. Like I'm ready to write the check on the deal, right?" But the other guys who work from good companies, I don't know who they are, and they'll call me and tell me, "You don't know who I am. I do this and that." No, I don't know everybody. I do my best, but I don't know everybody. But I do know Ivan. I do know Joe Side. I know some people on this deal. To go back, just real quick, to cover one last point. We talked about just to cover when you're an investor, you want to be careful when you make a purchase contract that you don't say you're going to occupy the property if you're getting a hard money loan. That can backfire. Normally a loan you get a better rate if you're going to occupy. And so a lot of investors who think, well, I'll say I'm going to occupy and get a better rate. And number one, it's probably loan fraud. But more importantly, number two, if you're not getting a traditional loan, a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, jumbo type loan, but you're getting a hard money loan, some of the lenders will do those loans only if it's not owner occupied. They're restricted. And so I've had cases where just out of habit, I actually made this mistake once. Out of habit, I didn't check the box that he wasn't going to occupy. I left it that he was going to occupy. The lender turned the loan down, saying, "Well, he's going to occupy. We can't do it." The property was condemned and was going to be a complete teardown. But the lender's guidelines were once they got the file, they wouldn't let us change it, no matter how obvious it was that it was a mistake. It was obviously an administrative mistake. Turns out I found him a different loan, got a better price, and it all worked out. But you want to be very careful. These things that people say, "Oh, just hide it on the addendum." Those of us who've been in real estate for a while have figured those tricks out. So you're going to be very careful when you do the contract, think it through, make sure you fill out the paper properly. Okay, we got to wrap up here. Any other questions before we wrap up? No? So I'm really excited. Next week, Tuesday, I'll be in New York City, and I'm connecting up with a real estate investment group there. And they do out-of-state investments as well. And so for those of you looking for deals out of state, we'll get a chance to talk about those, how they do the business as well. And maybe we'll have some opportunities we can pitch on the program next week on Tuesday. So not seeing any other questions. I think we covered everything. I'm Bill Gross. This is Real Estate Investing Zoom.com. We do it every week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We record it, send out to YouTube as well. Appreciate your support today. Ivan, thank you for stepping in and helping out. William, as always, William/Pamela, thank you for no comments there as far as your sexuality or whatever you are there. William/Pamela. Great to have you on the call. The rest of you as well, thank you for support. If I can help you, give me a call, text or email me. Make this your best week ever. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.